All right, everybody, Brand Royale. This is where we basically dissect two opposite brands that are trying to tackle similar problems or similar market. Oh man, total accident, guys. But yeah, Tesla versus Lucid. Obviously, we know those are two very different companies trying to tackle very different, similar problems, but differently, right? Tesla heavily focused on performance and technology, I would say.
Yep.
And Lucid very more focused on luxury and lifestyle. I think they're trying to sell you this idea that with their cars, you can live a more fulfilled, relaxed life.
With your
Tesla
fancy
is
watch,
exactly,
and your nice
and your
leather
yacht
briefcase.
and all these good things. So it's obviously a pretty crazy industry, especially now with the EV market is heating up quite a bit. But we can see that Lucid is holding an interesting territory where Tesla is starting to compete with companies like Polestar and Porsche. And all these guys in that area, and then we have people like Rivian, for example, building trucks for a specific lifestyle. They're just selling you on like this outdoors life with your electric vehicle, very specific. And Volkswagen a bit the same with their Volkswagen Bus electric that they're trying to make.
When we say Volkswagen, are we talking parent? So does that include like?
No, because I separated Porsche. So I would say Volkswagen themselves are making a lot of electric vehicles. I think the other companies within the Volkswagen umbrella
and stuff like that. I almost got the Golf-E.
Oh, the Golf-E, yeah. But Volkswagen is after Tesla the biggest producer of electric vehicles. So it's as a conglomerate. Yeah. So yeah, today we basically want to see and explain and talk over why Lucid and Tesla have very different brands and brand identity and tone of voice and all these good things. And we're going to be able to hopefully walk through a little bit why we think this is and kind of what differentiates these two different car makers.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right. Lucid versus Tesla. Let's start looking at their brand and analyze this a little bit.
So this is a tricky one for me because I love Tesla as a brand story. But sometimes I wouldn't necessarily say that that was my vibe. It's almost too techie looking. I drive a Tesla though, so it's like I bought into the story. But the Lucid, in a way, aesthetically, I'm really into the walnut, the dark black, the more aesthetically that does fit my brand a bit better. But I can see how Tesla kind of hits their market. If you're trying to be a new EV company and performance is a concern of people switching over, they definitely say, hey, we're coming in with pure power.
And that's what for me. And we're going to take a look at their website and a little bit of their digital presence and some of their products as well. And this is where the stories really differentiate each other. Obviously, Tesla is David versus Goliath here. Tesla has been around for a while. They have huge backing, huge market cap, tons of money and resources to build the vehicles they're building. But in terms of the brand, it's true that their brand is very very techie and very cold a little bit, and I think robotic. And coming from Elon Musk and some of the things that we know about him, it makes sense, I think, for them. And I think going for that, I think at the time, especially when they came out, being able to target those early consumers, right, and being able to go after techies because they knew that's what the target audience was. Remove all the interior buttons with giant screens, and so it made a lot of sense. And I think their brand is still living that life. I wonder when they're going to think about potentially upgrading their brand. Whereas Lucid, newcomer from California, inspired by California and nature, and they really want to push this idea of sustainable electricity and luxury. And so they're really pushing for these natural sustainable materials and these beautiful earth tones and these serif fonts and all these things. And so I think when you start looking at for example, their digital presence, we'll dive into their websites a little bit, but that becomes pretty clear, right? So for example, we look at...
Quick question. Is Lucid, do they have a backing? Are they?
Yeah, so they're backed by a Saudi Arabian investment fund, and they also
that's their market for sure.
They also IPO'd, so they got quite a bit of market cap out of it, and they got a lot of money out of it. So they've been doing okay, even though I think they've only delivered a handful of vehicles. So far. That's the whole new tech life, right?
And then it was also it was only friends and family.
It was 20 close personal beta testers, basically, I would say. And then I think after that, now they're opening up the production line and they're trying to deliver more on their fulfillment because they have a lot of reservations. But But yeah, you can see, I think one thing about Tesla is that they're being super smart about what they want you to do when it comes to their digital presence and their website. It's basically come here and shop.
Yeah, it's a beautiful squeeze page. They know exactly what funnel that they're gonna put you under.
That's it.
Yeah, what product do you want? Cool, buy it. Like you don't need to know about me. You don't need to know about Elon Musk. You probably already do. We know that you're here to consider purchasing a vehicle probably, or getting those solar walls.
Beautiful site though.
It's clean. Like it kind of reminds you of like, you know, Apple-ish in a way.
I agree.
Like even the way they like talk about their statistics and stuff like that, it's just incredibly clean. If like Apple were to enter the car industry, you know, they would do something along those lines, which was why I was kind of sad when Apple never did purchase Tesla. I thought that might happen.
I think they'll build their own.
yeah.
I think they'll be okay building their own. So let's just do a quick side by side with Lucid here.
For sure.
So if all of a sudden the tone changes and it feels a bit more business, a bit more serious, but still like very luxurious. So we're starting with this like beautiful maroon color car, like driving around these California roads, and a bit more, I would say. Yeah, away from the tech and a bit more mature and a bit more like almost serious a little bit.
Well, their type choice is like a good like indicator of what they care about, because like it's a little bit harder to read, but it has an elegance of it that you can appreciate too. So it's less functional, but you know, experience wise, there's this even that nice scroll effect with the text coming through.
The parallax here is really nice.
It's the subtle things.
And that's luxury, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you look at some of the big brands, like whether you Louis Vuitton and stuff, it's all about the details. And I think that's what they do really well. Like all these little interactions. Their configurator is one of the best in the game. With the 3D, full on 3D configurator. It's really beautiful. Obviously they have their background here, San Francisco, but
that's cool. They have the background in there.
Yeah, and you can change the background. So
yeah,
I can put it at the beach and take a look at what my imaginary car would look like at the beach, for example. Pretty beautiful. It's a really good way to like buy into a product that you're not going to look at, right? Or you're not going to own.
It is cool, but like I think like if we were to look at this just from a pure efficiency standpoint, if you wanted to get people through that checkout process as fast as possible,
I mean, Tesla owns it, right?
Tesla wins for sure. Like you know where to click, you know what the next step is, you know what your options are, you know, and you get it done. You're not getting distracted by anything.
So this is where it's like story over efficiency. I think because Tesla is already established, people know their story and they know what they stand for. So they go there and they know what they need to do. Yeah. Whereas Lucid being a new company, they need to be able to sell you that story. They need to be able to sell you into who they are. What do you buy into when you buy this? Because you're like buying into a personality basically. And so what personality do you fit in? And I think they do a really good job at that, because when you look at the way they build their brand, so this is what's done by their agency, Tolleson. They have a small article about how they designed their brand, but really they really lean into this lifestyle idea of this is not tech. We're taking a futuristic approach that's very different from Tesla's. And we try to stand out. And I think there's a lot of beauty that's been done and a lot of refinement that's been done that I don't think Tesla has yet in their branding. So looking at even the letter form and the way it goes from thick to thin, just like in car design, all of these little things.
I do like their logo better, I would have to say. Yeah.
It's pretty well done. Even the air logo is quite dynamic. Describes their car pretty well, actually, once you start breaking down the lines. We'll get into the product very soon.
I would say they don't have a mark. So they only have the logo type.
It's only
the L. The L to me is a little like
it's not as
like,
iconic.
That's not
I agree.
iconic at all. You're not gonna recognize that L anywhere.
The Tesla toothpick or whatever you want to call it, it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more iconic.
You know, it's the Tesla coil.
Yeah, the Tesla coil.
Yeah,
section,
but that's even a stretch for me because it's like a piece of it and stuff like that. It's like me taking a piece of a toothbrush and being like, oh, the Brussels represent.
And it doesn't work with the other mark that they have. They're like very different. The icon is quite different from their actual word mark. So yeah, that's also another thing that we noticed. Let's take a look at for example, how do they like present themselves online? We look at, for example, Facebook, Tesla. That's not on Facebook, by the way, because Elon Musk hates Facebook, so he pulled everything out of Facebook. But they're on Instagram.
How is Lucid active on Facebook?
Yes, Lucid is out there, and Lucid is super consistent.
This must be pretty low engagement, though, right? Like Facebook, how much?
Yeah, 510 shares.
95,000 people.
Yeah,
shit.
95,000 people here. It's not bad.
Okay, not bad.
But then you look at, obviously, Lucid Motors newer.
Yeah.
They don't have the cult following, I would say, that Tesla does. But I think that's
Yeah.
that's one of the conversations we'll probably get into about their CEO and what the power of a CEO has for a brand. And I think Elon Musk holds a lot of power. So when you go to Tesla, you can tell a lot of the 13 million followers on Twitter. They have a huge cult following. They build that through hype, and I think that's a bit of the difference with a company like Lucid. Eventually, hopefully, that's what they'll get into, making, maybe spending less money on their marketing and being able to.
Sure.
You're a newcomer in the market. You have to spend a lot of money on marketing. Tesla managed to get to where they are. $0 on marketing, and all they did was invest in R&D.
Wait, do we know that for sure? How much money does
I think we
Lucid
did some
spend
research.
on marketing?
We did some research, and I
could see that though. I could see Elon Musk being like, that logo's great. Like, let's keep moving. Like, we have to hit these deadlines. And Lucid being more like, oh, let's engage the best agencies. Let's have a design review process.
And marketing too. Like, they don't spend money on ads and stuff. What they do is they throw events like keynotes, like Apple, and they present new products, and they unveil a Cybertruck, and they unveil like a electric sports coupe, and then people just talk about it. People go crazy. ATV. Yeah, you get an ATV, and all of a sudden people are like, okay, you make a flamethrower for a Boring Company, and all of a sudden there's all these things that I connect back to this Tesla environment and ecosystem.
Do you think it's better to kind of like, so with Tesla, right, or even Lucid, Lucid talked about their vehicle how many years before? Like a long time before.
2012, I think, is when they first talked about it. But that was a different company. That was a
10 years?
different company. It was a different company at the time.
But same founder?
No, because the new CEO and stuff are different.
CEO,
so I think they kind of like got bought off and like rechanged a bit their branding, and they rebranded and then they reattacked. Yeah.
But like, we've been looking at that Lucid vehicle for a while, right? And then like even like Cybertruck, Roadster, and stuff like that. Do you think it's better to kind of tease products out like that in the automotive space, or like hold back? Like Apple's like whole thing is like, we don't show you anything until like launch day, and you get super excited about launch
I think
day.
Tesla does it so they can get money in the bank.
Reservations, they have to.
They just get reservations. They raise the hype and their valuation in a way, and then they can invest in more stuff. I mean, that's what they delayed. They've delayed pretty much every
otherwise
car.
You can't pay for the factories.
Every car they've pre-sold, they've delayed. So
yeah.
And Lucid is on that train too. They sold their car before they had it, and now they're basically trying to fill up orders and stuff. But let's
let's keep it going.
Let's look at the actual product design, because brands are not just digital. They're not just word marks and colors. They're how you translate the vibe and the identity that you have in your website, in your brand, in your type, and this needs to be translated into physical products. And this is what Lucid and Tesla do, because their main offering to public is a product. And so let's take a look at how this translates into it. Right away, you can look at the difference of the Tesla and the Lucid. It feels like one of them is selling you a Stormtrooper performance car. The other one is selling you a nice, like, hey, sit by my mid-century modern house in Palm Springs and come and relax and just hang out in this lounge. What do you think? What's your feeling on this?
Let's talk about whiskey flavors. No, there's I would say for me, it's exactly that. To be honest with you, the Model S has never been like aesthetically one of my favorite cars. It has like even the tail end for me is a little bit off. I don't mind the front of it as much, but even for me, like, I actually like the Model 3 look.
It feels less heavy. I think it's a smaller of a car.
It has more like, Porsche characteristics, especially with the grille and stuff like that. I don't know what that slit is like necessary for.
That's a performance package, I think.
But like the interior, like if I had to, how different having like the spoke wheel and those different elements kind of get me excited. But at the same time, if I'm just thinking about like, as a designer, like pure aesthetics, like what do I gravitate towards? I actually prefer the left.
For me, which one tells the story the best? If we're talking about like they build a brand story and they're trying to get that story to be conveyed through a product. I do think, aside from the interior, so let's look at the exterior first. I think the exterior of the Lucid definitely sells you more of that dream, that lounger, touring, luxury vehicle. Tesla is pushing performance. Obviously, you have Ludicrous and Plaid and like all that stuff, right? And so they go crazy on performance, and you can see it even in the steering wheel. It's becoming like almost like a Formula One steering wheel, and everything is disappearing. So they're doing a lot more of that, and I think we did pick a color and trim here that's a little bit more.
I was like, we could have chose like a same
it could have been a bit more, but these are the ones that Tesla are pushing hardcore on, right? That's what they're trying to sell you. On their website, they're selling you this right away.
It feels different. It feels different. Like left, you could see that coming out of VW. Like realistically, if VW came out and was like, hey,
there's a lot of ex-VW designers there.
Oh, okay, there you go. You'd be like, oh yeah, I could see that coming out of like a big automotive because it's got like that refinement to it.
I think 3 or 4 of their main designers came at some point from VW. So, I think also the Model S is a lot older, so there's a lot more time to refine and design this new Lucid. But there's few things that I think work, and for those of you that are looking for key things to look at when you're looking at designs like this idea of like when you look at a luxury vehicle, the idea of presence, like how much room you take on the road, how big your car looks, how imposing does it look?
Yeah.
That's huge. And I think like using these really thin horizontal lines across the car makes the car look long and wide.
Yeah.
And so you look at the front end of this Lucid and you see this long bar that goes across your eyes, like, oh man, this car looks super wide. And then when you look at it from side view, this headlight cuts into the side body line into the tail light. And so it creates this whole loop around the car. And then you have this floating canopy roof that sits over like this giant cabin. So the cabin on this car is actually much bigger than the Teslas. They have like the front windshield is actually further forward. And so it looks less like a traditional car. It's got a really short nose. So it gives you a lot of room on the inside. That's what they sell. They sell like you're inside this luxury vessel. Their idea was like a private jet almost. And so
like the back seat is like where you want to be almost.
Yeah, exactly. The back seat on the original one like leans back. I think on the Air Touring they fold back almost like Mercedes too. You can like lean back and like.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those videos.
So pretty cool. All right.
I remember it like initially Lucid had different looking back seats though, right?
Slightly, they were way more conceptual.
They were way more conceptual. Yeah. They looked like floating.
They look like bucket seats and stuff. Yeah,
because this looks pretty conventional to me.
Yeah. But even I think one thing Lucid does well, and if you look on their website, is the color and trim. So the CMF is like
that is clean.
They pick really well refined colors, really well roughened palettes, materials.
Even the shape of the headrest and stuff like that has a certain elegance and like weight and base to it.
Yeah, and I think they drove that all the way down to the small details, and I think that's why this car became pretty successful. It's a pretty simple car and designed for the industry.
What do you think about those iPhone rims?
The iPhone rims. Oh
yeah, am I giving you PTSD from the Bugatti rims?
Oh, the Bugatti rims are an iPhone rims. No, it's not that bad. This one doesn't bother me too much. It has motion. I think when it's moving, it's like it looks like it's moving even though it's still. Let's look at the last small piece that we wanted to look at for these guys.
Oh man, dude, that's rough.
Another physical presence.
You can't do that to Tesla.
I mean, dude, I googled Tesla showrooms and stores, and honestly, all the images were pretty much this, and those are some of the better ones. Okay. But I think this drives the point even more, even though it's pretty drastic. It drives the point even more that Lucid is selling you this lifestyle. You're going to not a mall to buy a car or to a dealership, and you're going to these showrooms where you can sit down and it almost looks like they're going to give you a cigar and some whiskey, and you can like kind of buy your Lucid, and like they hired architecture firms to help them design the interior of their things with all these natural woods and natural colors. So they're really like, one thing I appreciate about what they've done in that effort as they hit the market is that they were very consistent across. Their brand identity, from the visual, from the logo, from the colors, from the typography, to their website, to their, you can go through the whole Lucid experience, and I feel like you feel like in the same home. And Tesla, I think, is gonna get there. Probably their stores were very successful. They disrupted how cars were being sold all around the world.
They're not pretty though.
By putting cars in malls, but they were all about function. They were like, "Hey, come touch our shirts and all our color palettes and all our wheels," and like they put everything in the showroom, and they were just like. So it is a bit of different language, but I think it's interesting to see the two. And I know these are maybe rough images for Tesla, but I couldn't really find better ones.
It's interesting for that. Like when I picked up my car, it wasn't even a showroom. It was just literally a garage. And then so like their budgets must be so slim on these these retail experiences or dealerships.
I mean, you're buying space in malls, so nowadays like that's probably the cheapest retail space you can get.
Super cheap. And like if you look at what's in, like if you told me, you had to set up the left side, I'd be like, okay, give me $2 million. If you told me to set up the right side and you're going to provide the vehicle, I mean, what, $200,000 setup right there?
Yeah. Except for the big stuff,
yeah, like paint the walls, like get that screen in there, but that is the cheapest setup that you can imagine.
So they're really investing. I think Lucid is really investing in the image because they don't have the rest of the clout that comes with being Tesla, right? Like, you have to overspend to be able to like beat them at that game.
This is a marketing ploy or marketing move for them.
Sure.
The retail shop for Tesla is less of a marketing move. They already know they have diehard fans coming in.
And the past couple of years, Lucid has built over like 40 showrooms and like
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's
pretty crazy.
Honestly, that's my aesthetic, the black and the wood.
It's beautiful. I mean, yeah, they're definitely selling
If you ever want to buy me furniture, like give me a little walnut and some black.
All right, dude, to close it off, in 2 years, if you could own either one, I know you already have a Tesla Model 3,
man.
but let's go. Would you go Model S? Would you go? Oh, let's buy into the brand Tesla or Lucid.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your pros and cons?
Okay, from like the design, the visual identity perspective, like it's hard for me. Like, I actually like Lucid better. But I also like, I probably aspire to be more of like the Lucid target audience.
So aspiration.
It's kind of like aspirational.
Interesting.
But that being said, like I would always go with the Tesla just because of their software and I'd rather be more innovative than like refined, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
I'm willing to make I'm willing to sacrifice and go with.
Isn't that funny? I feel like they're two different, almost like the lifestyle they're selling, the pace of life. It's like Lucid is like, hey, you made it, slow down.
You're steady, yeah.
You made it, slow down, enjoy the ride. Whereas Tesla is like,
have
yo,
a cigar.
You made it, let's punch the gas and get to my office really quickly so I can get more work done and make more money, right?
Yeah. Let's get to Mars. Like, it's not enough. Like, exactly. I don't want to go fast. I want to go ludicrous. No, I don't want to go ludicrous anymore. I want to go, what is it, like the next? Yeah. Ludicrous plus, and then...
Well, I think this is a fun little format. I think we can do more of these in the future. We already have ideas of other things we can do. But hey, we'd love to hear your opinion. Are you a Lucid or Tesla fan? Tell us why. And let us know what other brands we'd like to, we could review on this show. Let us know. We're open for suggestions. So yeah, this is the first episode of The Art of Branding. Not bad.
I enjoyed it, man. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good. Yeah. I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah. And then,
what brands should we do next week? You'll never know.
Oh my God. I don't know.
We could do software. We could do industries. We could do HubSpot versus Salesforce.
Ooh. Oh, you want to go into CRMs and stuff? Oh my God.
I don't know.
That might be a bit boring. I don't know.
Apple versus Intel, M1 versus Intel. There's a lot of really cool brands out there. Let us know. Yeah.
So we'll get to it. But hey, thank you everybody. Thanks for everyone that's helped us put this show together over the past few weeks. It's been a crazy kind of undertaking trying to get this going. So thanks everybody for the support, and we'll be back next week.